You're listening to the Fade to Gray Network.
We invite people
of all backgrounds
to share their stories,
Through nuanced conversations
and forward thinking,
and not taking ourselves too seriously.
Everyone's story matters.
Every voice is important.
Life is polarizing,
But not everything is black and white.
Come join us
as we fade to gray. Welcome back to another episode of Fade to Gray. We got the entire Fadecasters here. We got Seth, Omar,
Hey-o.
Elizabeth,
Hey.
and for her second time around, we've got PK Langley. You can go and check out the episode she was on. I believe it was like Take Me to Langley Town or something like that. Omar, what
Yep.
did you name that
I
episode?
believe that's what it was. Take me down to Langley Town.
Yeah, something like that. We'll put it in the show notes. All right, so anyhow, we are very excited to have PK on. The last time we talked about PK's spiritual journey, but this time we're actually going to let PK kind of take over the show because she's got her very own show that you absolutely have to go and check out. I've listened to a couple of episodes already. It's called Ask PK, and of course it's in the show notes wherever you're listening to this podcast. Click that link. It'll take you over there. Subscribe, go and leave a rating, a review, and everything. It's going to be fascinating. She's a spiritualist, okay? And she's going to do some readings on us today. And I have never experienced anything like this, so I am so stoked on it. And in fact, a little nervous, not to be too scared, but I'm very excited about it. Welcome, PK. We're so excited for you to be here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do. And what I do is kind of unusual. I doodle and I tap into things, and I've kind of called myself a spiritual surgeon with people because I tap into areas in their hearts that they need help with. And I just am very attuned to those things, and I always have been. And so I like to just flow with somebody. I would prefer to go one at a time, because if you all bombard me all at once, it's going to be harder for me to do that.
Right.
So I would like to first reach out to Elizabeth, if you don't mind. Can I
Nope.
start with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. If I were to ask you, what would the first thing that would be on your heart when I ask you, what is the most pressing issue on your heart in your life right now?
That's rough. Anxiety. Anxiety.
Yeah.
It's a mental anxiety that goes through everything I do at this point.
Yeah. It looks like lightning. It kind of bounces everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And this is actually neurological. There's something going on neurologically there that's bringing this to pass. There's a deficiency in a nutrient that is causing this to occur. It's a mineral. So if you can check your minerals, there's a mineral deficiency there that is leading to this, and that's what's causing that to occur.
Okay.
And I it's like a calcium, magnesium, like it's a mineral that's going on there. And that's deficient, and that's what's going on. So if you can shore that up, that's going to help you with that. Because this is actually a physical manifestation that's happening in your body, is what I'm communicating to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you know that. I'm just, because I can see it like electricity going through your body and your brain. Okay. And that just totally set off Chris. So I'm going to go to you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Talk to me.
It's funny because I feel strange because I don't know whether to be completely silent or make jokes about Elizabeth's deficiencies or what. Because on a normal Fade to Gray episode, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But I want to respect what you're doing. So, yeah, this is so cool, and the fact that you're able to point that out about Elizabeth was very cool. I was super amazed by that.
I think that you were the one that I was seeing in the beginning. I saw a castle and I saw two breaches there, and the words were intrusion and violation. And I wrote the castle that never was. And I think that was about you, and that it's almost that you have shored this thing up so much so that somebody's got to get in a side door. You're like, there's no fucking way anybody's ever going to get in there again. And you've said nope. So there's it's almost like the universe has to be clever and sneak in the side door just to get into those secret places with you anymore, because you've said fuck no.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say there's definitely trust issues with people for sure.
Yeah.
100%. You nailed it.
And it's the two breaches. It's the intrusion and the violation. There were two major breaches there. How am I doing?
You're doing good. I immediately think of my dad. I'm trying to figure out what the other breach might be. But I immediately think of my father for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a difficult one.
Wasn't that violation in the hot tub, a couple years ago, was it?
No.
Because you said you wanted that.
PK, did you want me?
I was there.
Yes.
You did.
You see?
Did you want me to respond at all to what you said, or no?
Sure.
So
how am I doing?
Last time I was at the doctor, she told me I needed to increase my calcium intake, and I was just realizing this week that I have not been taking any extra calcium.
Dude, she fucking nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
She said calcium.
Yep. I mean, I haven't been to the doctor in a year, so I don't know. but yeah, I was realizing I hadn't been taking my calcium supplements. So
It's what we call a medical medium. There are times when I can literally see right into somebody's body, and literally I was seeing it's almost like the electrical current in your body is off because of this, and that's what's going on.
Sense.
Yeah. I loved how
when you talk about go
ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to go back to me because I like talking about me.
Yes.
When you say the castle that never was,
Yes.
that is resonating with me right now, because I'm thinking of a man builds a house or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so this breach, this intrusion would have happened whenever I was very young. And so I was never able to actually build up that castle,
Yes.
in the first place. All right.
Yes.
Starting to speak to me a little bit there, PK.
Yes. That's because you got to come in a side door with you. Yep. That's exactly what I said to you. Yeah. You're such a solid young man, though. You're such a good young.
I appreciate you saying that.
You're a good man. A good man.
I'd like to think so.
Was that a fat joke?
That's twice you've pulled on me. That's twice. And you've done it with a leprechaun's crook, but which is your style, which is absolutely your style. What incredible style you have, Omar.
Yeah, I'm ready for you to give it to Omar.
Give it to me, baby. Uh-huh. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think she swings that way.
That's funny.
That was perfect.
It's funny. I'm excited about this, PK, but I don't know. I'm wondering. I'm just curious how it's going to go because, unlike Chris, I've been a part of a lot of this type of stuff, and so it can make you jaded in the other direction. So, and so I'm trying honestly just to have an open heart and mind, and it has nothing to do with you or anything else. It has everything to do with
I'm enjoying running around the rose garden with you. I don't mind it, Omar. I love your light heart and how you had to disengage. You had to cut the rope and let the balloon go. But you see, son, there is so much more to see, you know? You float over the clouds for a little while and then the wind blows and you have a whole different view on things, So you have just developed a different language, You left the country and you learned a different language, but it's still beautiful. It's still unique. It's still just as incredibly unique as you were when you shone outside of the body. A different star, Omar. How unique and wonderful you are. Jesus, what a special soul you are, Omar.
Trying to make me cry, PK, because it's working.
I'm pouring love over you, man, because you've needed it like a warm blanket, man. You've needed it. You've been working so fucking hard. And every time you try to build something, it gets fucking knocked down over and over and over and over. Fucking over and fucking over. And that's disheartening, man. I mean, you can have the biggest fucking heart in the universe, and that's disheartening. And it's been hard. And it's been long. It's been the War of the Roses and every goddamn disheartening song. I am so playing your tune. I'm playing to you, man. I'm playing to you. The universe is speaking to you. Because there's still a song in there. There's still a song. And million hearts can't be wrong. There's just I just want to speak to you that there's a lot of support still behind you, and take heart. Take that lion heart, You've got some great kids there.
Yes.
And I want to speak into that. So just hold it. I know you want to talk to me, but just hold it for a second. Because you're that kind of guy. You want to love back, and I feel that. But just hold it. You got some beautiful kids that are going to grow up as great trees. Don't worry, Daddy. Don't worry. Because I know that that's been on your heart a lot. You've got incredible roots. And they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. Okay. I'm going to check in for a moment. How is everybody?
I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you to that. So if my oldest daughter goes on a killing spree and buries a bunch of people in her basement, I'm coming looking for you.
Deal, baby. Deal. Deal.
Yeah, that's yeah, good stuff. Like I said, it's hard. It's hard, PK. A lot of times when we would do things like this, can I respond to everything to you?
Yes. I'm right here.
This is everything about meeting you has been fun because we've kind of run in some similar circles before. Elizabeth I think that's the reason I had a hard time with this is because I've had so many words spoken over me, PK. And the last thing I need is I feel like is another word,
Yeah.
I don't even know what I believe. So like all this shit, like I used to believe 100% in all this, and could do it and tap into all that. And I still can, but like, I don't even know what I believe. So, thank you. I mean, I receive everything that you said. and it was good, but I don't know how to process it all. So thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. I love you. I love you. I don't even know how to believe or what I believe anymore. I come from a place of love, and that's all I've got. That's all I've got. I have deconstructed to the place of love, and that's what I tap into. And whatever that is abides, and I know that it does. Because I can't deny this. I can't deny that when it resonates and it does something on the inside of something in here, you know? When I was just talking to somebody who is mentally ill and she described what happened between her and I, it felt like you reached in and scooped something out. I can't deny that. Something happened. So whatever we've got, wherever we're at, I mean, that's okay, Omar. Just know that I love you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have something to say?
Seth really needs a word.
No, I don't.
Seth's afraid.
Liar.
I'm a blubbering mess. I'm a blubbering mess over here. I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified at the moment. It feels like we're walking on holy ground.
Yes.
I feel it. I've cried at each one of your stories, and it's not even my story.
Yeah, I don't cry, and I kind of teared up whenever you started talking about Omar's kids. That really got to me. I was like, oh shit.
Like, I'm ready to just like turn the walk away, and I want to go cry. Like, I'm good. Wow.
I mean, people can, push this away, but sometimes it's just undeniable. And, I just let it flow. When I was reading Seth early on in our friendship, it just kind of happened one night. We were doing a polo and I just let it out. And I thought, this guy's going to think I'm nuts. He's going to think I'm crazy. And I was scared, honestly, because in the church, it was different than this. This is different. It's like there's no religious bonds here. There's nothing holding it back. If I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's passed over, fine. I'll, let's go for it. If I feel like I'm tapping into somebody's past life, I don't understand it, but I'll go there, and if we can't prove it, fine. If it changes somebody for the better,
then it's worth it.
Fine.
Yeah.
If it, I mean, that woman who I know is mentally ill, severely, is saying to me at the end of it, I have more clarity. It's worth it. It's worth it. If you go outside and stand on your head for 25 minutes every day and it makes you a brilliant scientist, do it.
I agree. I like the fact that you're not trying to define anything because it is what it is. It doesn't necessarily need defining, I like that.
Yeah.
You and I have kind of spoke a little bit before about, being an empath or being psychic or medium or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it is something that people kind of find woo woo or whatever, but it doesn't have to be that way, at all.
Woo woo is an interesting adjective.
Yeah, but I used to say that. I used to say things like, "Well, that's really woo woo,"
right?
And look down on it,
Yeah.
But I was talking to somebody. I did an Ask PK the other day, and I said I used to pour everything through my religious filter. I used to say, God's, just wants you to know that your dad's proud of you, But really, I was sensing that person's loved one that had passed over because I was picking up something, but I had to put it through that religious filter, I'm talking to your dead dad right now. But I'm in the church, so I've got to say something different than that.
Right.
You know, but I couldn't even consciously let myself even consider that might be happening. You know? So, but I'm not trying to define it. I'm not trying to explain it. I'm just, here it is, guys. And every time I do this, I'm constantly doodling. And this is your doodle today. This is like I'm drawing something different every time. But I don't know if you caught this, but my interaction between every single one of you was different.
Yeah.
So when I was in the church, it was a lot of it was very much the same. I don't know how to explain that. Is it because it was wrapped up in a religious filter that had to be cookie cutter?
Most likely. You had to follow some sort of a rule.
Or did you just get lazy, maybe? And it was like just one of those things where you're doing it so much, it's kind of like it becomes like a familiar thing. So it was no more, it wasn't work. It was like, okay, here we go again. And so it's like once you started getting something for somebody, you could almost like, maybe I'm speaking to myself. It's kind of like once you kind of like, oh, I've gotten a word like this before, and you just kind of plug into like that vein, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I'm doing it again. I don't know.
Could be. Repetition, or, you know, the social pressure to look like everybody else. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but you go into one church and everybody's doing the same exact thing. Like I went into one church and everybody was going, oh.
I never understood that one. I'm like, I don't want that Holy Spirit, the one that like gives you like really bad gas pains. I never understood. Like, I went to a house church when I was a teenager, and there was one guy during when the worship was getting really good, and he would just be going at it, and all of a sudden, and we were like 16, 15, me and my cousins, and we're looking at each other. We're like, we don't want that. It's like whatever that is. Like, you're like, can I pray for you? No, buddy, no.
No, I'll pass that one.
That's funny. I want to go back to this to the castle thing, if you don't mind, because as soon as you started talking about this castle, I started envisioning the Tower of Babel being built. As a linguist, I don't know if that means anything, but in my head, I start visualizing. I start visualizing the Tower of Babel, and each stone is another, you know, I guess, barrier. Each stone is another barrier. Not that we're trying to get to God, but that we're trying to distance ourselves away from other people. And I don't know. For some reason, that image kind of came into my head. I don't feel like someone who puts up a ton of walls, but maybe I am.
Do you play chess, Chris?
I like chess.
So you understand how all the pieces work?
Yes.
Okay. So when she was saying castle, and even as you're talking about it, that's what immediately comes to my mind. I love chess. And I mean, as far as the rook is what we're talking about. The rook piece is one of my favorite pieces. It's like one of the more powerful pieces on the chessboard, and it sits in the back, and it's always protecting the king. And the really cool thing, the really cool thing about the rook, I think like applies to you, and I can speak to some of this because I know you pretty well, is that it moves straight, which is also really fun if you think about the fact that like it moves opposite of the bishop. The bishop always moves diagonal to where it's trying to go. It's like, why the fuck you going diagonal, bishop? Get it together. And you're like, so the rook, always we have to go straight. And also, it's the only piece that has a special move with the king that you can do. You can castle, and where it can switch places and stuff like that, like in the back. So, I think that like, especially if you think of all the different things as far as just how much of a rock you are in my life, like, I think it's a very fitting word for you.
Well, that's sweet. Thank you.
Why are we not surprised? Chris is in the back doing deals and switching spots with the king. I mean, is anyone surprised?
I told him he underestimated his position in our podcast one of our last meetings. He didn't realize how much power he held until I messed everything up.
Wow, it got quiet.
I'm still waiting on Seth's word, man.
I think I
I
already
don't
got
know.
it.
I feel like maybe you
Why are you
asked her
trying to play so
beforehand.
coy? He's just trying to
Yeah.
play so coy.
Coy.
He probably said beforehand, whatever you do, don't read me.
I did not say that.
PK, please don't say anything. Don't say anything.
So I'm interested in the fact that you're doodling. Can we have maybe a scan of that whenever you're done?
Yes.
That'd be really cool to have, actually.
Yeah.
And you're not the first spiritualist that I've heard of that actually uses doodling as a way to channel like concentration or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool that's what you do. I think that's certainly an effective method, and it's really cool. You and I have talked a little bit about, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I myself have, whenever I was a Christian, got told all the time that I had the spirit of prophecy and or discernment, whatever. And so I've always had little intuitions about things. I've always had things that'll come to me out of nowhere. And a lot of times they'll come to pass. Not always, but a lot of times they will. And so as a Christian, of course, I'm pushing all that away because I think, oh, it could be of the devil. And so I'm trying to suppress it.
You have a family member that's passed that is around you.
Are you talking to me?
Yes. That's
Oh,
what
I can't
that
wait to hear
is.
about this. Actually, keep going.
That's what that is. You have a family member that is with you, and they are passing information to you. Holy cow! I cannot believe I'm saying this. It's a female, and I keep sensing that she had that gift as well. But she's close to you. I keep seeing like a second or third generation, like a grandmother figure right in there. Yeah, she's with you. E, there's an E in her name. E. I'm terrible with names, so I never rely on those things.
That's okay. I have a feeling I know who you're thinking of, but I'm not certain.
Yeah. She's spry. That's the word I hear. Spry. Spry. I don't even know what spry is.
I think that's like, I think they say that for somebody who's like quick on their feet for her age or whatever. Moves around quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. She watches over you and she protects you also. There was like, within the last 3 to 5 year period, there was something, an accident or something, very close call for you, that she was there, protected you from disaster. 3 to 5 years, right in there.
Thank goodness for that, whatever that was.
What in the world? I'm like laughing at myself because I have never done this to this depth like this. But perhaps it's because you're open to this type of thing.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
It's easier. Yeah. Because a lot of times I tap into things like this and I don't even know it's possible. I just say it almost becomes first person to me when I'm saying it. So I'm hearing it as you're hearing it and I'm going, you're this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how automatic it becomes. And it almost feels embarrassing to me. And I want to share something because it's important that people hear this, because I want to legitimize this. People that do what I do or have the ability to do what I do, it's very taxing because this started on me this morning. I was getting impressions about you, Chris. I was tapping into things with you this morning. That's how my day started when I woke up. And it follows you throughout the day. And there was, we used to call this spiritual warfare in the church, and I think it's so funny. There's almost a wrestling that goes on as you are intuiting somebody or connecting in that way. It's almost like putting a bolt and a nut together. Sometimes the connection is difficult and you have to get it on there prior. so there's almost like a roughness to it, and then you connect, but it costs the person that does this something,
Yeah.
and there's an intensity, and so people get aggravated because they're like, "Hey, this is psychically charged money." and it's just like, oh my God, if you had seen what I had to go through today to pour out what I have just been pouring out, and I'm not doing the poor me pitiful speech that people in the church do to get you to throw tithes and offerings at them. I'm explaining something because people that can do what I do also have on the other side of that a deep abiding love for people. I love people so much that I have never been able to hold somebody in unforgiveness, even when they've been horrible to me. And I have gone through a lot in my life. I had a lot happen to me. And if it were not for protecting the people that abused me, I would say that here. But they are still alive. So I'm saying that, people need to understand that it takes a lot to pour that gift out. It takes a lot to give that. You know what I mean?
I think it also takes a lot of guts.
It's scary.
Yeah. Especially in a society that's so openly like afraid of the woo woo or the spiritual.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I started reading about people that could do what I do because it terrifies me. It terrifies me. What if I'm wrong? What if I tell somebody, like when I started doing the medical medium thing, and I can explain to somebody what's wrong with them when they're like seeing a doctor, and spending all this money trying to figure out what's wrong with them. And I can sit there and diagnose what's wrong with them. But what if I'm wrong? What if I end up hurting somebody? I mean, that's kind of scary. Like, or what if you speak something negative into somebody's life? I mean, it's wild. Like, there's a lot of considerations to that. So I guess for me, my biggest hope is that what I deposit is going to be good and it's going to be positive, and it will help people.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't mean to make you all somber and everything, because I'm
not at all.
No, you're not. I think we're just listening.
Yeah.
It's a different type of episode because we're a bunch of smartasses, and we want to try to maximize your time and honor all the work that you've put into it and stuff at the same time, like you're just explaining. And also not screw up our own personal words. So I think there's some selfishness in there too, where we're just we're just trying to keep the right atmosphere. Almost, I feel like Elizabeth should be on the keys the whole time, setting the right mood. But I'll tell you what I'm gonna.
That needs to happen.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna need to, or what I'm gonna do though, because I wrote down 2 words for you too, PK. Earlier, and they're literally just 2 words. But I think that they play on each other, and we'll just see how it goes. The first word I wrote down was acceptance. And at first I was thinking that just to reiterate that in your own life, that how accepted that you are, and that, but then the next word I got was pioneer. And I actually think that you're going to be a pioneer in acceptance. And that so a lot of the stuff that you're even doing with this now, where you're looking at how maybe other mediums or other spiritualists or other psychics have done things in the past. I think that what you're doing, or what you, and I think you know this already, but just that it's not what they're doing. So, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know, but don't try to fit your square peg in any sort of round hole. You've been doing that. There's a sex joke in there someplace. But I mean, obviously you left the church. You left the church for a reason. And you don't need to find another organization to find your acceptance, to find your belonging. I think it's like you're a pioneer in this, and as you're doing that, people are going to be following behind you, and you're going to create your own community. You're going to create your own, whatever it is that you're doing, the spiritual walk, the medical meditation. What would you call it? The medium, medical medium. I mean, would you have like an extra small for Chris? But anyway, like so I like to, but anyway, so yeah, that's my word. That's all I got. I mean, I think you're awesome. I can speak that for myself, but this was just earlier when you had me in that emotional place, and I was kind of like tapping in. I was like, all right, well, I was just wondering, I was like, I'm gonna get something for PK, and so I got that. I wasn't sure if I
love it.
Would have got more or not, but I think that they play on each other. Like they're apart from each other, but they're also like together. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Earlier, whenever she was starting in on you and she said the word leprechaun, I thought she was still talking about me.
I did too, honestly.
Oh goodness!
But, and it is fun, and I'm glad that you did, that you're sensitive to change the way you deliver for each person. And I feel like I almost can't even remember what you said to me other than you made me cry and my kids are going to be okay. That it was just like, I was just being loved and reaffirmed, but it's not like it's not. And so I'm way more open now if you want to have anything else.
I was hoping she was going to go for Seth still.
I love that. You know what?
We have time.
The thing is that Seth has such a thin wall that if I pushed it, he would expose a part of himself that he doesn't want to expose here. And that's why I did not do that to Seth.
Thank you.
That's exactly why I didn't do that to Seth.
It's respectful. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. I honor that about you, Seth. I honor that depth of love that you have. So how do you feel, Elizabeth?
Honestly, I still choked up about your word to Omar about the kids, because they're my kids too. And part of my fall struggle this last fall was dealing with comments from certain persons who will be unnamed, who hold a lot of weight in my brain cells, telling me that I was failing. So it's good to know they'll turn out okay. I want to believe that's abusive. True, but
those words were really
name
harsh.
those motherfuckers. I'll go kill them right now. Is that your mom?
You know who she is, Omar. Yeah, it was my mom.
She doesn't listen to our podcast anyway because she doesn't support. So
that was very cutting, though. That was damaging.
So I was thinking about that, but then I was also thinking, I don't remember whoever said it, but it's the idea that when you get into the atmospheres of these readings, or like in church circles, the prophetic circles, the prophetic tends to come out of people. And when I used to do these prophetic type things, I always had an instrument and I would sing it over people. I was much more comfortable, I guess. I don't know. I just found a way of doing it. It was just much easier for me to do it that way. And so I'm sitting here going, well, my piano's too heavy to carry up the steps. Yeah. My guitar is broken and at the shop. I have a ukulele and it's downstairs. That literally is what I'm sitting here thinking about. So yeah. Those two things.
Absolutely.
I hate that our step away from the spiritual abuse and the religious trauma that we've experienced
meant step away from the spiritual.
Stifled.
Yeah. It also
has stifled our spirituality. Like I do hate that, because for me, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't believe in God anymore, so therefore I don't believe in anything. And it should have been a point where I could have been open up to spiritual things that weren't fundamentalist Christianity, but that's not what happened. And I'm kind of coming around to the point where, and I'm not saying I'm about to get saved or anything. Please don't hear me say that. But I'm kind of coming around to the point where I'm open to that kind of stuff again, and I'm cool with experimenting with it. And I'm actually excited to experiment with it.
Like mystic sides of things?
Sure, absolutely. And I think even as a Christian, I was always pretty mystic.
Yeah.
But
well, I think that's what draws us in, is that sense that, because we are energy and we witness that energy. So that's the draw that's there. That's what's pulling us. It's not all the other fanfare and all the bullshit that we fall into later. It's the genuineness that pulls us in, it's all the, it's the nougat. And then we get sandwiched in the candy wrapper, and it takes 10 years to fight your way out.
Right.
But, Einstein said, that energy can't be extinguished.
I love that you just mentioned Einstein, because I was just thinking about Einstein and how gravity, people used to think, held you down to the earth, but that's not how gravity works at all. Gravitational waves push you down to the earth. They don't hold you down. Anyway, so I was thinking about being held back by, held down by fundamentalist Christianity.
Yeah.
That was in my head. That's so funny that you mentioned Einstein. Anyway.
Vibrations are awesome.
I love that. Like, it's obvious that our cells vibrate off one another. Like, they're creating this friction, in between us that sends signals or whatever it is. And I don't know if I believe in dead people walking around and you're getting a word from them, but I certainly believe that, whatever air my great grandmother breathed, I'm also breathing now. And so what has entered her has entered me, and that we're all made of the same stuff. I certainly believe that. And so I do believe there's connections there. And I do believe that there are echoes of people or whispers of people still around, I mean, I'm an example of that, correct? So I totally buy into that.
Yeah. Tweak your perception, whatever you need to do, Yeah. I mean, I was talking to this one guy, and I had this strong impression that he had been a shaman in a past life. Have I ever told anybody this before? Nope. So, I said, how do you feel about reincarnation? And he goes, well, I don't believe and this guy is not in this country, and he's over in London, and he's like, I don't believe in anything like that, but I believe in my DNA and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, maybe one of your ancestors was a shaman. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you,
Yeah.
If that's how it comes, hey, maybe it was one of your ancestors, and maybe I'm just perceiving it a different way,
For sure.
And that's okay. So if that's how you come by it, that's how you come by it,
Yeah.
I like the
we're all
fluidity of that, because then you're able to tap into things the way that you do, but that's just the language that you have. And so if you have a different lens or a different language for it, then, we're all saying the same thing ultimately. That's beautiful, PK.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is like the quietest episode we've ever done.
I know, it's so mellow.
We're keeping it
wait.
open for the spirit to move. That's all. And I don't know if you have any more words for anyone, but certainly at some point I'd like for you to kind of talk a little bit about Ask PK and how people can be a part of that.
Well, Ask PK, I can definitely go there.
Yeah,
I can.
sure.
I created it to get the word out there because I'm finishing up my master's in mental health counseling. And I am of the opinion that if it takes every wrench in the toolbox, I'm going to use it. So if it's neural programming, if it's, yoga, meditation, if it's a pill, if it's whatever, If it helps you, then let's use it. So with Ask PK, I'm trying to normalize a little bit spirituality as well, because I mean, when something like someone who is mentally ill calls in to Ask PK and she ends up getting help, that's a witness and that's a testimony that, this is out here for a purpose. Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%, 100% BK, because that's, honestly, that's why we keep doing what we do. Like, just every once in a while, getting that email or that person that, reaches out and, tells you like part of their story, like, and it reminds us that, that even though we may not be at the same place that we were, a year ago or, even like a month ago, like just we understand it's all about the feedback. And so like, it really helps keeps you going. And so, and honestly, as far as feedback from me or from us, what I'm seeing, I mean, you almost saved Chris on this episode, done what nobody else could ever do. And, made all four of us simultaneously cry. So, I mean, like, I think that you're definitely tapping into something and you're doing something good. And so,
that's a pretty big feat for me. I'll tell you that much. I'm not very emotional. So yeah. It's pretty good stuff.
so I'm definitely looking.
And kept Seth quiet the entire episode.
The entire episode
ever.
He's terrified. Seth is here, by the way. I mean, I promise you.
I was wondering, like, a while back, about like 20 minutes ago, I was sitting here and I was like, you know what? I could stop talking and I won't even have to send my audio in. Like, why? Why am I on this episode again?
I mean, you pretty much set
we
it
can
up.
allude to the fact, that.
Yeah, I'm the shadow. I'm the ghost.
You're the guy that didn't get the reading. You're the one that was overlooked in the pew.
It's that guy.
No, I'm just too emotionally fragile to be put on a public platform.
But are you open to it? Are you open to, like, I know that you're saying that you have
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Gotcha.
So if this were private, it would be fine.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, I'm fine. I'm actually fine with it now. I don't mind it at all. I used to go to IHOP. Like, I remember
International
being
House of
in high
Pancakes? That
school
place was
and I would
banging.
drive. No, International House of Prayer.
Come on,
I would
Omar.
drive 2 hours to like sit and like receive like the spirit because stuff
I
showed
drove
up.
10 hours.
Well, congratulations. I don't
Sorry.
care. The hours don't matter. What matters is I was trying
Sorry.
to receive the spirit.
Yes,
I mean,
good job.
by golly, I spent years talking to pastors about trying to make me straight. I can't tell you how many readings I've received.
You mean Mike
on the
Bickle?
program.
Mike Bickle didn't make you straight?
But I'm just saying, like, see, I was just holding all this shit in. It didn't work.
All you had
by
to
the
do
way.
was
The
look at
readings-
John Hagee once, and you'd be straight for life.
Jeez. I mean, I did the oil on the doorposts, and the laying of the hands, and the
you
getting on
went
the
out of
knees
your
on-
way
in
for all of
front
that,
the
and you
church
won't even let PK do a simple reading on you today
I
from
am
someone who
perfectly
actually loves
fine
you.
If PK gives me a reading, she told us, right? I'm a thin wall. I'm a thin wall. If you poke it just a little bit, it's like a floodgate. She's
not.
protecting me,
She's
guys.
I
She's
think we
not
just
wrong.
poked it, PK. You didn't even have to say anything. We just poked it, and he just like the floodgates just.
Oh no!
See,
I am-
PK,
I am
you not
collected.
saying anything
I'm calm.
was said so much.
I am calm and collected.
My eyes hurt.
Welcome to Fade to Gray.
Oh my God. So good. Thanks, Seth. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So how often is Ask PK going to be released?
I'm shooting for a weekly. I'm hoping that we can do that. And I've been doing extra shows during this Christmas break so that I can, hopefully, we can make that happen.
Yeah. And you're going to, I guess, have your grand opening or your
Launch.
your launch on January the 1st. Is that correct?
Yep. And if people want to go to the website, it's ask-pk.com. or they can find me on Facebook, Ask PK, and we can hang out and chit chat. They can come on the podcast for free. So that's the benefit that they get. You come and show your face, and we'll give you a freebie.
Or is this our freebie? Because I mean, I might want to sign up for like one where these guys are not there, so I can just get all the good words. Many more good words.
Yeah, but I got dibs on first go around.
Yeah, I will definitely keep the door open for you guys.
But what if someone's like Seth and they don't want to go public with their reading?
Perfectly fine going public.
I know, but I'm asking PK if
Come out
there's
of the
anyone
closet
like
with your
you
reading already, Seth.
Like me.
that doesn't want to go public with a reading. Is there an opportunity for them to still have a reading from you?
Yeah, and
What do we need to do?
And what I did was I did paid readings on the side, and I made them paid for one reason, and one reason only. My priority is to the podcast, so I'm deliberately trying not to do paid readings because I've got school full-time, work full-time, and I'm trying to devote my primary resources toward the Ask PK podcast. So, I'm giving priority to those people, and that way, if somebody wants a paid reading, they can come on, and there's a slot a week that's open for that.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to
cool
provide content for a content creator, it's free. But if you're, wanting to take up someone's time without really giving them anything in return, then it's got to cost money. If you're good at something, you should never do it for free.
Fair.
And and I think you're really good at this. I mean, obviously, you nailed Elizabeth right out of the gate. You definitely resonated with me with the whole, castle. And certainly you spoke some really great words to Omar. So I really appreciate your words today, PK. Thank you so much.
And you spared us all from a Seth meltdown. I mean, 10 out of 10.
Oh, Seth.
That was a joke.
Don't be sad, buddy.
I think he's ignoring us.
Oh,
I checked out.
He's on Grindr.
I quit.
I mean,
He's trying to read Grindr.
Yeah.
my boss sent a message to the team, but I can jump on Grindr if you'd like me to.
Oh, Seth. I got nothing but love for you, Seth. You know that, right?
I know.
Nope.
Oh, yes. All right, so make sure to go and check out Ask PK. In the show notes, just click that link and subscribe, rate and review, and by God, go get a reading on her show. Don't be afraid. Don't be a wuss like Seth. Come on, get on there and get a free reading. I'm just kidding, Seth. I love you, buddy.
I just can't win. I just can't win. But hey, I am excited. Please
All
go
right.
check out ask-pk.com today.